Vibe coding. Have you ever heard this word or this phrase? It's something that I hear a lot about, and I'm kind of aware of what vibe coding is. You know, initially I thought it was like you just kind of get in the zone and you just start coding, but I realized no, it actually is more of an AI powered type of coding. And I was super interested in learning more about this. And, there's platforms like Cursor, Lovable, Claude is doing a lot of types of empowered coding. The problem is that some of those require you to know a lot of kind of coding infrastructure, and they're not as easy. And so I started to mess around with Cursor and a couple things, and I found myself gravitating towards Lovable, specifically because I had a couple friends use Lovable to build things, and they said how easy it was. And so, I'm like, let's try it out. The best way to learn something is actually to use it. I think about this like with driving. You can read books about driving, you can watch people drive, but driving doesn't become natural. You don't really understand it until you actually get behind the wheel and start driving. And so I was like, hey, let's build something. Let's actually try to build a product. And I spent a little bit like thinking about what do I want to do, and thinking like, I can build anything. Like, what does that mean? And so I came upon this idea. And so I decided to build a church tracking website service for people. I really built this not with the intention to launch it. I built it to kind of learn actually all the pros and cons from designing something with the platform to actually launching it. And where are the blockers? Like, where does the vibe coding kind of infrastructure? Can I really build something without knowing how to code completely? And so I signed up for a Lovable account. I signed up initially with a free account, and then I quickly went to a $25 a month account, which gave me 100 credits, which meant 100 prompts. And then I got lost in it, meaning like I really started to enjoy it. And this is what they say about vibe coding, is that you kind of like, you get into like a lucid state and you just kind of go. And I got addicted to it. And so I actually went up to a $50 a month. But the website I built is churchtracking.com. And I built this website all with Lovable. And I kind of want to show you a little bit how it works, and kind of show you the idea of it so that you can get a concept of kind of where we're going with coding. And I talk about this is because, I'm a pastor that, is in the technology space. I'm our innovative tech pastor, and I was our online pastor a long time, but I also went to Bible college and have a master's in theology. I'm not somebody that knows how to code. I'm aware of, HTML. I oversee some developers that do things in our tech stack from, Azure and pushing code and all this stuff. We have a custom mobile app. We use platforms like Embraco and all this fun stuff, but like I don't actually know how to code. And so I was like, can I actually build something with, basic knowledge? And so this is the concept. You sign up for a Lovable account, and I would encourage you to do this for free. Like, do the free one, just mess around. I think it's so important for us to just know how to use things. I understand, I might know a lot about basketball, but I'm never going to be an NBA, player, or even a good normal basketball player, but I can learn a lot about it. What's cool about this is that you can learn a lot about this and actually do it. And I would encourage you that it's possible. And so I want to walk you through, I'm going to like vibe code some things here. And so you can get an idea of how this platform works and kind of how much easier it is going to be for normal people to kind of build stuff. I got some cold coffee here, and we're going to enjoy this. And so when you log into Lovable, you have different projects and stuff, but I have a project already, a church tracking, and it says you got an idea. And I literally, when I started this church tracking site, I literally just said, I want to build, and I gave it like a 2-paragraph prompt. I want to build a church tracking site that can track attendance, salvations, baptisms. I want it to be for churches. I want it to be a 30-day free trial. And I built some things. Now, as somebody who kind of is in this space, I'm very aware of the products and the things that work. You know, there's church metrics from, you know, Life Church, nonprofit, you know, they built that tool. We're on Rock RMS, and so we have like a weekly flash report that we have that's very, you know, basic, but it works. And so I was like, I kind of understood what I wanted. And so I put it a 3-paragraph deal, and it popped out this site. And so what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to go into one of my projects, and I'll show you this idea. And so the left-hand side, you just have all your requests, and then you have this, and then you can preview things. There's this time thing where if something builds wrong, you can go backwards. Here are all the pages that I've built, and this didn't all get built at first. I slowly iterated and added things. And then over here, you can publish things. And so you can choose to push, and then it will actually even give you reviews of security issues that could be happening. And so, yeah, and so like, for example, I'm gonna tell you, I'll work through one issue that I noticed, because you can build a lot of things, but once you start logging in, stuff will break. And so I'll show you, so for example, this site, when you log in, this is a demo page, and I literally told it I wanted a this week, 4-week average, this week salvation, location breakdown. And so when you get started, you can log in. I actually connected a couple things to do the login. You can use Lovable's cloud storage, or you can connect it to other things. When you log in, you can see here that there's very little data. One of the things I realized is that for some reason, if I go to settings, if I go to my locations, for some reason at initial load, like like initial load, it doesn't show on my locations. So there are locations, but for some reason I have to reload it. And so I noticed this, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in. And this is the thing with vibe coding, is that you kind of build it, you play around, and then you're like, hey, can you fix this? I'm gonna go to locations, and so down in the lower left, there's a visual editor. Sometimes I found when you click this, it's a little like it loads and then it doesn't. And so like it's thinking right now. And what you need to do is visual editor will allow you to select something, and then you can chat to that specific thing. So like right now, it sometimes does a hard refresh of the page. So I'm gonna like log back in. I am gonna go back to locations. And so I'm gonna say, hey, I noticed that when I first logged in, my locations didn't show, but after a hard refresh, they do show. Can you fix that for all users? And it should show on every page as well. If I'm actually not going to try to tell it to go that wide. So this is the hard part, is you have to like find things and then figure out how to ask it. So now it's going to think, and sometimes these are quick thinks and long thinks. Generally, they're pretty quick. It's done. And then it says, fixed, all cache queries are invalidated on sign-in, so locations and all will load immediately without needing a hard refresh. So let's try this. I'm going to sign out. Oh, actually, this code isn't live yet, so let's not try that yet. Let's fix something else before we push new code. I did notice team member. Oh yeah, I have a team member page that I added. So you see how that says 0 team members? But if I go to settings, I have another team section. I'm a team member. So I added these roles. Like it should say, like this is something I know on team, it should say 0. It should say 1. I noticed this says 0. It should say 1 because there is an admin on this account. Can you fix this for all users? So again, this is the tricky part, is that you have to like notice things. You have to mess around with them and actually understand like what's wrong. Now, as somebody who's like works with, you know, we have a mobile app, we have a website, we have, you know, we have amazing teams. I've been around product design and services like this for a long time. Like I can mess around and break things, and I always have an idea of how to make a design better. You know, this is why stuff like this is really going to be amazing for like front end design people that are like product designers, because you can immediately build something, and maybe you can even get it to like the 85% route and then hand it over to maybe somebody to like polish it off and finish the product. I do have a lot of questions on scale on this. Like, will it break? Because I'm on like their cloud infrastructure. Like, how many users here could it support? I have a lot of questions on that, but you can see, like, for example, you can see how it did a hard refresh. Now it shows the admin. So it just fixed that, you know? And so now it linked it. I did notice on the initial build, it didn't, it had all these pages, but I couldn't find it. So I went into settings and I said, can you add these pages so you can link it? I'll do one more and then we'll push some code. Okay, so one of the things I have on here that I think is pretty cool is on the dashboard. Oh, this is a cool feature. I wanted, this is like for tracking attendance and so forth. I said, can you create a link that people can share, like with volunteers, so they can look at attendance? And they generated a public link and then a password. And you can see this is a public link that you could share with people, and you can look. So like if you wanted your volunteer teams to know the attendance, you can do that. And this right here in the dropdown is the shared token, because I have a password optional. You can have a password or not, but it's very basic. I bought this. Lovable has an integration with, oh man, how do you say this? iOS. I bought it with it. It was $1 for the year. So it was really easy to hook up. I did initially, the URL was a Lovable URL, but I said, hey, I have an integration with this. And I had to go into the DNS on the account and just connect it. The other thing that's crazy is the forget password. Initially I said, can you add a forget password? And it did it. It was a Lovable address. And then I was able to connect resend. They actually told me this, a resend account, which was a free account. And what I was able to like connect my DNS from my church tracking here. And then it allowed the emails to come from the forget password from that email address, which is amazing. So now when you do this, you get an email and it works that way. I did try to do a 6-digit code, so magic link, and it was a little funky. It didn't work amazingly. So there are some interesting limitations to this, but how crazy is this? A public URL and you can share it. Okay, so something that I added was that I want to adjust. I added on, well, it's because there's not that many holidays, but I did add a feature to add holidays on this graph so people can see holidays and maybe how that might impact your attendance. I actually added, if you go into like the plus to add attendance, a custom note. And if, I think it works, yeah, here. It shows a holiday in that week range. So again, you can just be aware, and then you can add custom notes. You can add a holiday or something else, like maybe it was ski week that week, or it rained really hard, so that you can track. Again, I'm kind of adding the things that I like, but I notice in settings, this is the last thing before we push this code, is I wanted to like change the starting date, so that maybe if your services start Saturday, you can have all your week start with Saturday, which is a pretty cool feature, I think. Okay, this is where I noticed this holiday thing added like this like really confusing, this is long, and so I need to find a better way to visually do this because people aren't going to want to do this. So this is going to be tricky. So this is kind of a big request. So I'm not sure what it's going to do here. Can you have these holidays in years? So you click on a year, then it expands to the full list of holidays, and only go back 5 years and don't go forward into 2026. So include 2026 and backwards 5 years. So I'm curious what it will do here. So obviously, like, having a list of all the holidays and only having, you know, the last year or so is not great, because you might want to go super backwards. And then what happens in 2027, I have to go back in and ask this to add more, but I'm curious what it will do here. And the problem here is that you have infinite ideas. I have infinite ideas on how to make this better. And then I gotta build it, I gotta test it. Right now, I did ask it to integrate Planning Center. So I was able to hook up an API to anybody who creates an account, comes in here. I also hooked up Stripe for the payment. Okay, so one of the struggles is you have to create an API. You have to create a dev account on Planning Center or on Stripe, and then you have to connect the API. That does take a day or so to kind of work right. But again, I just literally in this said, I want to connect to Planning Center. What do I do? And it told me what to do, and you know, eventually it worked. Okay, let's see. I got to do a hard reload, it looks like. Moment of truth. Okay, look at that. Look at that. So like obviously it created these, and I'm assuming these dates are right. You got to check it, but it didn't add these, which I think is okay. So I'm going to, can you make sure, actually, can you make sure Easter, Christmas, and New Year's are added to 2024, 2023, 2022, and 2021, and the dates are right. I could go in there. I'm just going to add those holidays. Isn't this nuts? Like, this is nuts that this is, again, I'm working with it. So it sometimes will tell you like basic things like this, like it will give you like change date range. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and review it right now. I'll mess around with it later because it's just me pushing a website. But again, I built this whole thing in a couple days. Like, I just did it on, it's like, it became a hobby. Okay, let's see if it added it. Yep, it did. I'm assuming these dates are right. Okay, now I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna push the code. So right now I go update. It tells me it will do like a free security check where you don't use credits. You really, like, 100 credits is a lot of credits, but if you're actually like building something, you'll want to go up to a higher account. This is fun. Again, this is for $50. I paid $50. I paid for the URL $1. That's all I've spent to build this. Okay, I'm going to do a hard refresh here. And then I'll log in. I'll go to my settings to see if it works. Okay, the things we checked, yep. You see this code is live. it works. That's so crazy. I also did the team thing. Yep, now it shows the team members. Let's make sure I go to team here. Like small things, yep, it shows that. Small things, I wanted to add, initially I had a couple experience, add member. Whoa, wait. Oh, that's right. I did that, settings, team. I made it so I didn't want another experience here. This goes straight to the team page. I only wanted one. Same with the plus here. I didn't want multiple pages so I can control the experience. So every time there's a plus, it goes to this page. I also created this like drop down. I wanted it to move by weeks, but then I wanted you to be able to click and see a specific week. You can see in here like there's like I added adult, youth, kids. You can also add custom menus. And then the last thing I'll show you is subscription. I signed up for a Stripe account, got an API. I set this up and you can subscribe, and it started this 30-day free trial. And then I was kind of pumped. I jokingly wanted to call these like mega church names, like Catholicism, Elevation Church, you know, small church. I don't know, but I felt like that was a little too on point. It would have been a little weird. But this is crazy. I would encourage you, mess around with Lovable. I started to show my kids because I'm like, you know, I'm almost 40 and this is going to be crazy. And so if you want to mess around with it, I would. I mean, it's not a product that is, you know, durable in the sense that it's like, you know, worth anything, but it's really crazy. We live in a weird future here that we're going to be able to build things, and you're not going to need to know how to code. You're just going to need to know what you want to build. And I'm honestly blown away that what I was able to do in a couple days with some free time. So mess around with Lovable. It's pretty cool. And I can't believe we live in this reality. We're going to be able to build some cool things. And you're not going to need to do all this work. You can just slowly build it. So hope that was fun. If you want to check out more, check out my website, jkranda.com. I have a bunch of stuff there. Check out my book, Online Church is Not the Answer, where I dive more into some of these topics. So anyways, if you got an idea, check it out. Sign up for churchtracking.com.